constantly. I'm calling her constantly. Just now, if you just very quickly, there's a phone number. Right? When I asked just now, like, oh, who's willing to put a phone number? Dr. Tini is like, of course. She gives a phone number to everybody. So really, like random poor people, I don't know how else to put it. It doesn't sound politically correct, but that's really what it is, right? We keep texting, calling, right? And then she doesn't have that kind of like, oh, don't give my number. There's always people asking her for help. She's the person I've seen work the hardest to help kids and poor people everywhere. So slightly off tangent introduction. Please,
thank you, Nat, for the introduction, and it was, I think, really eye-opening to listen to my fellow panelists and looking at from different points of view. I'm not going to argue with you. I've got different perspectives and different points of view of what's happening. But you know, the first thing I noticed as I sat here was the fact that everyone here is an adult, and we're talking about children in school, and there's not a single child here who's giving their perspective, which for me in itself is very telling, because the most important person who's actually in school aren't here. They're not here. Yeah. Nobody, no child is here. We're talking about them, which drives the point home, which is something that my daughter, who's 17, said to me 2 days ago, which is, it is the funniest thing ever, she didn't mean funny at all, that you, Mummy, who's a baby boomer, because it's over 50, who's not been in school for 50 years, is advising millennials listening to millennials who are screaming about corporal punishment and caning and metal detectors, and telling the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha what to do when none of you are in school. You don't know what we go through, you don't know what we see, you don't know how we feel, and you definitely don't talk to us or with us, you talk at us, which is never going to work because we're never going to listen. And you know what? She has a point, because I asked other students what they thought. And I actually spoke to student representatives from around the country here who actually sit in student councils, and asked them, I said, if you had a wish about what is going on, and it's not just about the stabbing, we're talking about the gang rapes, little kids, we're talking about CSAM, child pornography, etc. and stuff. We're talking about a lot of things that are going on. We're talking about bullying. So violence is just not about what physically happens to a student or to a kid. It's also what they're doing, how they're talking, trash talking, the not speaking proper sentences. I'm an English teacher. So, the fact that, children somehow can't seem to speak grammatically or write grammatically correctly online bothers me, but apparently it's their words. The fact that they know and they have grown up, this is the first generation and first community that has grown up on the internet. None of us are here now. None. You came in halfway, I came in not at all. It's late in my life. But the children actually grew up on the internet. They speak and learn and live a completely different life. Social media is one they never switch off. Never switch off. They never get time off because their friends in school continue to be their friends online. They make new friends online, which we never did, right? They have the internet for that. They have groups, they have chat groups. They don't need us. You talked about the fact, Dr. Sue, that the first thing you notice is your child closes the door. Do you know that that is the first thing every parent of a teenager says? The first thing they do when you know they're going to start disconnecting is shut that door. You're out. You're completely out. And we don't talk to them. We don't talk to them, we don't talk with them, we don't ask them, so we're busy, right? We all have to work. Lots of us are single mothers, lots of us, in the space that we work, in the space that I work, most of them don't have children, don't have parents. There is no community support. I sit, by the way, as a disclaimer, I've just been asked to be on the Ministry of Education Task Force on child safety. Nothing's happened yet. I have been asked, to speak Meta, MCMC area, all the groups. So, I've been asked to give feedback and stuff. And I will tell you, Right now, out there in the space that we're in, the adults are panicking. And this is what the children see, exactly to your point. The children are seeing all the adults panicking, all the decision makers panicking, all the politicians panicking, everyone's coming up with this prescription of what to do, and no one has asked them. How crazy is that? No one has asked them. So I said, all right, not that I'm so smart, I'm not. But I noticed this, right? So I said, tell you what, kids, why don't you go talk to your kids, come up with recommendations, which they did, which I'm sorry I cannot share, because it goes to the government. But these 15, 16, 17-year-olds from government schools and boarding schools came up with a list of recommendations that are smarter, wiser, and more relevant to how they want to address the issue and how they want to be a part of the solution. They have to have a voice at the table to be able to make those decisions, not us. We think as parents, or as an adult, we have a say based on our experiences of how school should be. Well, guess what? We're not in school anymore. We are outdated. So why, if because they cannot control, and I totally agree, they cannot control their emotions, they are confused, the hormones are raging, they have no one to talk to, there's the silos, there's the feelings of isolation, there's the needing to be liked, right? The culture in schools nowadays is not education and learning in itself. The idea is, who is the most popular, which by the way is not a new concept, but how many likes, how many followers do you have? It is about having those community chat online, on Instagram, on stories. Do you know how they communicate? They don't just talk on their phone. I'm like, you want to take away their phones? They've got laptops with WhatsApp chat groups in there. They don't. You can take off. They have iPads. You take away their phone? Go ahead. That's what my daughter and I was saying. Go ahead, take our phones. We've got laptops and iPads and stuff. You can't take that away because we need it for homework. You are going to stay up and watch them 24 hours a day? That's crazy. I used to work in New York, right? And I worked in the lowest performing schools with the lowest performing kids who were, for all intents and purposes, in gangs in the 90s. Let me tell you something. You create, and I do say this, and this is why I wrote the open letter to the Home Minister, you create a community where you have metal detectors and gun control and checkpoints and surprise things and taking away phones. That's where you want to have more of. You create a community where you assume children are the criminals. You're creating criminals. You have already marked and said, this is who you are. You're bad. So we're going to have more bad kids. That's exactly what's going to happen. You create, you manifest, you say, that's what the children are going to do. So for God's sake, stop it. Right? We don't need metal detectors. We don't need gun control. It's not gun control. You want to talk about stuff? Okay, someone asked me, a journalist asked me, so what do we do about the fact that a child can buy a knife online? I'm like, well, that you can control. Talk to Shopee, talk to all the different, online shopping things and say, can you check and you have your KYL or facial recognition or whatever it is to make sure, an IC to make sure you need to be over 18 to be able to buy a knife. That you can do, right? We can do lots of other things. I don't know why we can't do that. We can talk to those groups. You want to do, it's funny, I was at this Changi event over the weekend where, everybody, you just walk in and you don't even have to register to get into an event now. Just show your face and they have your IC. They already know who you are. Just show your face and you walk in. Why can't they do that with children? Or with people? Just to make sure to control and be able to come up with that screening process to be able to know who's buying what. Right? There are words that you can do. Those would make Meta 2 days ago. There are words you can use that trigger off alarms. I'm going to say, if you buy certain things and that those elements help you make a bomb, you're going to get it, and the police are going to know. So there's so many different ways in being able to do this, right? So that's what the government can do. There's a lot of red tape, so that's going to take a while. What can parents do? It's not talk to your child, it's talk with your child. It is sitting down. It's very simple. Start your own neighborhood, Rempang Tetangga, community centers, so you can get the kids together on the weekends, have block parties. I know it sounds very 90s, but have block parties or something where your kids can all get together. You can have board game nights with the kids. You can sit and do paintings. You can paint the neighborhood. You can do different things so you get them off the screen. But the whole idea behind it, whatever the reasons, and it's awesome, get them out, because I will tell you, most of our kids have like vitamin D, they're not out in the sun, man, they're at home. So, you know what, pull them off the internet, help them with their vitamin D deficiency and get them out in the sun.